What is up, players? It's Warboss Tay up in this mug in preparation for the character creation of my Heroes of Hobbyton game to be kicking off. I need to build up some city guard, and these are actually village guard figures from the Vevictus model line. I purchased them through Etsy, and I want to use them as city guard in my game. My original game, my original creation called the Heroes of Hobbyton. It's a game I'm going to be playing on Discord exclusively with patrons of Warboss Tay Studios. So if you want to join the fun, then become a patron today. Pick out an avatar, either a male or a female knight armored figure, and you can join in on all the fun. It's going to be such a great time. You're going to load up your character with treasure and purchase the services of some of these city guard to go on adventures with you, and it's just going to be a great time. So I didn't go with the round MDF bases that came with these village guard because I would like to use them in the upcoming Old World game for Games Workshop. In order to do that, I need to find these 25mm square bases. I couldn't find them on the Games Workshop website. I remember Games Workshop used to sell packs of bases, and not just these, but cavalry bases, larger rectangle bases for chariots. I remember they even sold, I thought this was the greatest thing. It was like 20mm, but there were 4 across like this. It was a long rectangle, just one piece. And I remember putting my barricades on them for my Bretonnians and just using them for just weird like unit fillers. I remember I would put like 4 Night Goblins on one, or 4 Skaven on one of them. It was just a great time. And you can't find any of that stuff anymore. So I looked online and I found these on Amazon, 100 25mm texture square bases. So I've included the link for that down below in the description. And because we're working with resin and plastic, I'm going to be using my trusty Zap-A-Gap and the secret weapon, Bob Smith Industries Instaset. Both of these are also going to be linked below in the description. So if you're going to be working with resin and plastic, or just resin by itself, you definitely want to get the Zap-A-Gap and the Instaset so you don't glue your fingers together trying to hold these pieces together until some kind of bond forms. That Instaset is going to seal it nice and quick. And if you're going to be working with plastic and putting the plastic figures onto these plastic bases, I would actually suggest going with something like just a regular plastic gel or plastic glue, because that will melt the plastics together. Fortunately, because we're going with resin, we're going to be going with Zap-A-Gap instead. But thanks to the Instaset, it's going to be no problemo. So I've got my city guard here. I'm going to build them up, rank them up, have a nice big block, big chunk of infantry, and let's see how long it takes to do that. All right, Warboss Tay, tips and tricks for assembling mass bulk units like this. What I like to do is keep a rank set with the bases, just have the bases, empty bases set in a rank. It makes it so much visually more impactful and makes you feel like you really have to get these miniatures glued down, because once you've got a rank of them covering those bases, then you can move on to the next rank. Then you've got all these empty bases, got to do the same thing, got to cover them up, put the miniatures down. Little psychological. Oh, there's a spider. There's a dead spider like right in front of me. It was so gross. I am in the garage, so, I mean, I guess that does make sense, but ugh. Little spritz here and there. Like most blocks of troops, I'm going to be building a 5x4 block of infantry here. So again, it's amazing the amount of time I don't spend fiddling with miniatures now and trying to hold them at the correct angle, or else their sword is going to pop off or whatever. Like the amount of time I'm spending is just so fast compared to what it was before. I think maybe like twice the amount of time that I'm spending right now, I would be just pressing the model to the base, holding it there for like a minute, and then hopefully crossing my fingers I could let it go and walk away. Just walk away. Yeah. next rank, set up the next rank. Again, this is all psychological. If you've got it in your head that you don't have to do this, that you could just build one at a time as you go across, then I find that's not as nerve-wracking. Like when I see a row of empty bases, then it just makes me want to put miniatures on them. I remember like counting over and over because I was like, what are these extra 2 that I'm counting? It's supposed to be a unit of 20, 10 male and 10 female. And then I looked on the side and I saw these guys just laying out, taking it easy. The last 5 here are about to load up, and so I'm going to kick off, and we'll see you in the end of this video. Agar! Agar! Lewis, what are you doing in the studio? Aren't you supposed to be out in the clubs trying to pick up spicy young Latinas? I can't go anywhere without my little red pills. Have you seen my red pills, Igor? Ew, no, I've not seen your red pills. Well, I guess I just have to use some hocusy-pocusy magic. It's very lonely, you know, Igor. No spicy young Latinas want to talk to me. I sit at the corner of the club all by myself and nobody talks to me. Well, you know, you are a decrepit old man. I don't know what you're doing going to the clubs. Anyways, you old geezer, you should be at home sipping hot coffee and playing chess or something. Ah, rubbish! I'm going to look for spicy Latinas! All right, players, it looks like we are finished, and this unit has been such a joy to build up, mainly because of how fast it took. When you saw in the video, I sped it up, but I mean, I didn't really have to hold the miniatures to the bases for very long, and I didn't cause any damage to my fingers. There's no super glue on my fingers. It was just a fun time building up each model and moving on to the next. I think that's what this hobby should be more of. Less glue mishaps and more just putting the models down on their bases, getting them painted up as fast as possible so you can have a unit or an army that you're proud of, that you enjoy looking at and placing on the table. Okay, just quick tips. If you are building a block of infantry like this, remember to position your miniatures on their bases so that they're not touching, or it doesn't look like they're in danger of hurting the person next to them. Now, these village guard, they're all armed with different things. You got a guy with a bow, you got a lot of them have halberds, some maces and swords. A couple guys here in the front just sitting on their stool, reading the Daily Gazette or just hanging out. And because everybody's different, you've got to double check that their weapons aren't touching, that they're not in line to be shot at the back of somebody's head or to be stabbing someone in the back if they stop running forward. There's a lot of things to consider when you're putting your models together, and being able to have the freedom to do that thanks to Bob Smith Industries Instacure. Like, this is such a magic ingredient that I am amazed I haven't used it earlier with all of my resin, and especially thinking back to when I used to work so much with metal miniatures, those pewter miniatures. They really messed up my fingers with the super glue back in the day, but now with Instacure, Instaset, I have no problems. And that's gonna be it, guys. This video has mainly been about showing off these 25mm texture square bases. Now that my village, my city guard are all built up, we're getting ready to start the character creation part of the Heroes of Hobbyton minigame, which we're going to be playing on Discord with the patrons of Warboss Taste Studios. I hope I have enough. I might have to order some more village guard because each character can take up to a maximum of 20 city guard. And these village guard miniatures that are going to be quote-unquote city guard in my game, I only got 20 of them, not counting you two lazy bums. So yeah, I'm probably going to need a lot more, especially if I'm going to be getting more patrons in. When you think about it, like every player character could have this exact block, and go into expeditions with a fully bulked out unit of City Guard. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do that. I'm gonna have to add another couple of boxes of male and female Ve Victus miniatures. They're just terrific anyway, so I hope you go out and get some for yourself. Guys, that's gonna be it for this video. If you would like to get your own bag of 125mm texture square bases, either to rebase your current existing infantry for Warhammer Fantasy, or just to build a new unit fresh out of the box and put them in the base size that's going to be correct for them. I know all of us who had bought into some of the armies that were released back in the day before Fantasy went away with the end times, there would be these huge splash releases where they would just come out with a number of kits. They still do that. Like the Astra Militarum most recently is the one that comes to mind, where when it was released after the Cadia Stands box and people had a chance a couple of weeks to work on that, then they came out with the Ursula Creed, the Cadian Castellan, the Cadian upgrades. It was just like a big model dump. So that's neither here nor there. I'm just really happy to have these models getting ready for the Heroes of Hobbyton game, and I hope you are all too. If you're not a patron, you just want to hang out and watch my videos and see what the Heroes of Hobbyton are all about, watch them go for the glory, then head on over to the Discord. The link is down below in the description. And like I said, if you would like to purchase those black square 25mm bases, I've got a link for them down below in the description, as well as a link to the Zap-A-Gap and the Insta set. Check them all out and see if that might be something you're interested in, especially if you're planning on playing the old world. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you in the next video.
You can find me in the club. I'm a creepy necroman. Honey, I got what you need if you're spicy Latina. I ain't into girls my age. They all look like roadkill. So come give me a hug if you into loose.